What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, closet swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Man, we had a wild day after hours yesterday, but we are here today. We got Alan House. Good morning to Albert. Good morning, Corey. We got George J, Joe, JT. Good morning to Kevin Stone. Miguel's in the house. Good morning. We got Peter J, Randy, Tina, Win. All my peeps out in YouTube land. Good morning to all you guys as well. We got Daniel. We got Jenny in the house. All my lurkers in the background. That's okay. I still love you. Just hit that like and subscribe button, and maybe that share button that could help too. That could help too. I don't know who it helps. Maybe the person you're sharing with. I don't know. But we have Nvidia. So Nvidia reports earnings. We did have a slew of other earnings, but obviously the one that was the main key focus for everybody was Nvidia. Do they live up to the hype? Do they get bought up from here? The answer to everything is yes. Just yes. Just easy. Peter says, wow, Nvidia. Uh-huh. But Nvidia's moving the entire market today. So entire market is up. We got the SPY moving with it. Nice little push up on SPY, all-time highs, at least for the open. We'll see what happens in the next 28 minutes. But the all-time high is this candle right here. What's the actual price? 503.50. So we're a good 70 cents off of it from now. And it does look like we're opening higher. We do have a little bit of a retest from yesterday. This is a fairly large jump in the overall market. Zero, obviously getting into all-time highs. Zero resistance above us. Can go higher. I think I'd almost want to wait for some kind of a pullback, at least on the SPY. Maybe come in to retest this like 501.93 zones, something like that would get me better pricing. But if I see a setup that is high, if we do give even like a high wave candle on the SPY, maybe in the 5 minute time frame, something like that, and then we could break out of it, I'm good to go. I'm good to go bullish. But this is a pretty big gap up. There's going to be a lot of people profitable, maybe some initial profit taking somewhere in the market. Keep in mind what the sentiment is today compared to the sentiment of yesterday what's today? Thursday? So yeah, yesterday, the day before, and the day before that. Everyone's looking at this double top. Can we break it? That's a good resistance. I don't know. We're pulling back. We had a good gap down here. I think that sentiment kind of changed a little bit. So I think we do have the bull stepping in saying, okay, we are golden to continue to make a move higher. We'll see. But there was some people a little bit worried, probably in this zone of, is this going to be the big drop? Is this where things start? What happens if Nvidia does miss? Then we probably don't look like this today. I would say that. So maybe some of those people are saying, okay, let's stop. Market's giving me opportunity. Let me shave a couple shares. But again, I don't think they're gonna sell everything. I think maybe clean a couple of shares off the table, get some more cash on the books that they could have had the opportunity here, could have had the opportunity here, and maybe we come down, we pull this back a little bit, but ultimately, right now it looks fairly bullish to me. Just seeing if we get a little pullback first, I think would be a decent step in the right direction. We got Liza in YouTube land. Good morning to you. Uh, Wendy says, got calls. Would love your input. We'll get to Nvidia. I'm guessing you got Nvidia calls, right? I'm assuming, but we'll get to Nvidia in a call. I know. Settle down. Settle. Be cool. Be cool. We'll get there. We're gonna get there. We got the Qs. So the Qs, nice little gap up. Not surprisingly, not as strong as the SPY. Interestingly enough, this is a really, really good gap. Also a retest. So far we look exactly the same. The one difference is we do have SPY gap into all-time highs. Well, we got the Qs not quite there yet. Still a really good gap. I think the Qs actually might have a little less to pull back than the SPY does. Oddly enough, I do have two levels of support. One coming in at 433.81, the next one at 433.31. But I have this resistance up here too. So 435.49 is my first resistance. And then we got somewhere around 437.25. until we can really start to break out of that, technically up in the zone, we're in a little bit of a chop zone with a retest gap. So now the question is, how strong is this support going to be? And again, we do have some resistance, but why I kind of don't mind jumping in a little bit sooner is at least I have good risk reward right here. Throwing some kind of stop somewhere close to like 432.98, something like that. And then with all the bullish momentum in the market, maybe we could take those out. But even that will give us, I mean, still, if we get to the higher resistance, it's 437.17-ish. So we still got about just under $3 higher from here, and that's only to retest that. And then if we break out, we're good. So kind of interested on the Qs that the SPY is actually all-time highs, but the Qs are not. But keep in mind, Qs have run a heck of a lot more than the SPY just overall. TLT, we'll check into that one. TLT gap up. It is above a little bit of support. We'll see if that support could hold where TLT could open. We kind of had some bad bonds come in yesterday. Bad bond auction. Market didn't like it. You could tell. I mean, obviously the candle closed, and we did close the gap down. Let's see if that one wants to hold. Let's see if we could hold this 92.45. If we can on TLT, we probably come right back down into this 92.16, and with that close, maybe we could even break down today on TLT. So that's an interesting look. Again, a little bit of still a warning sign in the overall market, and then we got IWM, who at least as of last night wasn't doing too much, and we kind of hanging out here. So we got about 28-cent gain on the IWM. Nothing too crazy. Probably a lot of chop. Still. We still got resistance right above us, 198.61, and then we got support down to 197.54. I'm not getting good results on any of it in terms of like good risk to reward. The only thing I would say is we did have a good run up. We did pull back. We've already retested some of those levels. This candle kind of comes in to retest this zone. So if we're looking to balance, we're looking for everything to go bullish. We have a very, very strong resistance up at somewhere in the 204, 205 zone. If we could break through that, that's been a very, very tough level for IWM to break. If we could break that with the amount of kind of pressure that we put into this market, I think IWM could go crazy at one point. And if you are able to get in here with some decent risk reward, maybe throw your stop underneath yesterday, and then more of a swing trade. This is the second time, at least in recent history, we've gotten up to here, and maybe the third time is the charm if we do want to eventually break through this thing. But and getting it somewhere around here might be a decent setup for a swing. We'll see. All right, let's get to it. NVIDIA. Sintel says, good morning. Market going insane. I know, it makes me feel normal. The crazier the market goes, the more normal I feel. I'm like, okay, it's kind of it kind of balances everything out. We got NVIDIA. So NVIDIA obviously just absolutely stellar earnings, every beat in every direction. I think last year over year, they reported about 6.04 billion. This year, so a full year difference, they reported for yearly earnings about 22 billion, just absolutely insane growth. I was expecting good earnings, and then the question that I had was, I mean, we've run how good are these earnings got to be, and they were good. They were really good. Even estimates came in that they were going to do about 20 billion, so they beat that by only like 2 billion, only like 2 billion more. So kind of close. Too close for comfort. I think on NVIDIA, we'll see where this candle closes, but you have 1, 2, 3 days of selling. I also see that you have some notable over 2,000 million. Yeah. If you got your calculator, you're doing that conversion. Yeah, it's about over 2,000 million. Great volume last 2 days. Okay volume on this third day. We should have really good support somewhere around, I think, 730.65 into 738.86. gapping into all-time highs. We're even taking out this high wave here. I think Nvidia will go higher today. I think Nvidia probably goes a bit higher today. But at open, I mean, again, if you have, I don't know where you're at for the year. I don't know what your numbers are in your journal. I'm not sure anything. So my thought process is we maybe get a little pullback at open. We'll see. And I'll be looking for probably something in the 738.86 zone to hold. I think that would be a really good spot to see if you got some kind of support. If it starts to break, watch out for 730.65. Those are my two key levels. So there's probably going to be some people going, "Hey, I just made a lot of money on Nvidia." I mean, this thing is gapping up 80, $90, $90 at open. There's people that will be profitable into an all-time high. Every single person, even the ones that held all the way through here, not really sure where this dip comes in. You got your dip, and now they're all crying. They're all crying during this dip. I should have sold at the top, and now the market does give you that next opportunity. So I think there's going to be a little bit of a pullback. I could imagine that could happen. People take their gains. Ultimately, I think we do go higher for the day. So now if you have calls on the table, what should you do? This is not financial advice. This is what I should do. Let's change that question. Um, Depends on how many calls that is in someone's portfolio. Could you take partials here right at open, lock some gains, no matter what happens? That's in your account. You're good. I think that's not a bad move. Um, I think the other move that you could do, again, depending on where you got into those calls and how you're looking on those calls, you might be able to go, especially with the higher premium at this point, maybe you go with like an 825. You sell an 825 against it. This way, if this thing does pull back, you're fine selling through, holding through that little pullback. This will obviously those calls decrease in value, so that's more gain to you. You have the option of maybe come back for a stronger retest. You could close those out. So if you have time on contracts, you could probably go into about the same time frame. Let's say you got contracts that expire in June. That might be a viable option. There's a lot of money probably sitting on those 825s this morning that you could sell calls against it, and then either the stock goes up higher and you make more money, or the stock comes down lower and you make more money. Those are options that I would be looking at in terms of allowing myself to hold through it. This does look bullish. Could you at one point, if you got calls to June, get taken out at 825? Of course. Who cares? You made more money than if you just sold it today at open. If you have contracts that expire Friday, that's a little bit different. It's a little bit different. And again, how many contracts do you want to sell partials? Try to hold for the rest. That's completely up to you in terms of what you want to do. But there's a few options if you got some of those calls. Satil says Bitcoin is down. Yeah, crypto wasn't doing so good. I've got the late March and mid May, so you got some time on those. You got some time. Albert says 747, good number. Unless you're Boeing. If you're Boeing, not so good. Everything else probably, yeah, decent. All right, let's take a look at some of the other sympathies. Also, if you guys have tickers, throw those in. Larkin says AMD. I was going to AMD anyway, so me and Larkin, we're on the same team today. I got it. Adil says in Pakistan is night. I'm guessing a deal that you were saying that you are in Pakistan, or you were just giving me a random fact, so I should know something about Pakistan. Like I should know it's nighttime. So if that's the case, I appreciate the update on facts. If you're in Pakistan tuning into YouTube, I appreciate you. Welcome to the YouTube channel. All right, we got AMD. So again, a little bit of a retest from yesterday, but that's an inside candle. That's not going to mean too much. I actually kind of like AMD to the bullish side as well. Maybe again, a nice little high wave, a little bit of a pullback. Now the question is to where, because we do have one little resistance we're kind of opening into. If we could get a tiny pullback into, I would love to see it into like 170, 102. It is a gap and go. We do have some room to the higher side. So unfortunately, not a huge amount, but we got about $3.50. We could definitely make some gains off that. But if we could pull back down a little bit more, we get slightly better. Who knows about this resistance up here? It's obviously been a very, very good one. So unlike Nvidia, AMD's report was okay. It wasn't bad. It wasn't killing it like Nvidia was. And then you have, if we could get some kind of a breakup here, the next stop is really to the 180. Now you got about $8 to the upside. How bullish is everything going to run today? After the moves that we've already kind of made after hours, we did go from 164.29 up to right now 172.25. So about an $8 move on AMD. It's a little dramatic, but you do have a slight little resistance up there. So that would be my targets. I wouldn't short anything. I don't think I was short anything in the chip sector today. SMCI is a sneaky one. It's a sneaky one. They did something very sneaky yesterday. They need to be put in the corner and have a timeout. They waited until the Nvidia conference call yesterday. If you see the price action yesterday after hours, it was wild. A little bit wild. But they waited until the conference call, Nvidia's conference call, because they knew everybody would just be tuning into the Nvidia conference call, and they did release some some bonds, raising some money, selling some of those bonds, putting some more shares potentially out in the market, and very, very sneaky. But yeah, somewhere right around here, that news came out after they kind of ran, they dipped, they did get bought back up, but little interesting move. I don't know if that was a evil sneaky move or a genius sneaky move, but um the mark, they did dip a little bit on the news. They did carry it right back. This one again, you still at this little resistance. I kind of almost want to give everything, like, especially in anything chip wise, a couple minutes to settle down at least. But you have a little bit of resistance. This is 820.21 and then 864.30. So you have a decent amount of upside to SMCI if we could break over this resistance. If not, we still have some room to come down. I would love to see this one actually pull back a little bit into 787.84 and then kind of go from there. Evil for us, genius for them as usual. I mean, the CEO's got one job to do: get his company as profitable as possible and make some investors happy. So if you could now raise some more cash for your company and not even let the investors know, who's going to get mad? Victimless crime. Victimless crime. I want to know what planet is SMCI more valuable than Nvidia. That's the crazy thing. It's not. It's not more valuable. Not even by a long shot. Not even by a long shot. The stock price is different. The stock price is higher on SMCI, but the stock price means nothing in terms of valuation. Nvidia is much, 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 much more valuable than Nvidia is. It's based on how many shares are out there, and then you kind of multiply the amount of outstanding shares by the stock price. We could actually even look at that real quick, but FinViz, we'll take a look at market cap, SMCI. So SMCI is market cap 41 billion, and then Nvidia is 1666.5 billion. So much, much different. Yep. Don't let the stock price confuse you. And then the next question is, if Nvidia does want to continue to run, do we get a stock split soon? I think maybe as soon as next quarter, but we'll see what happens. All right, we got Tesla. Tessie Tess. Bad day for EVs yesterday. We had Rivian report, we had Lucid report. Both of them missed. I don't even care about the misses. The more concerning thing about, I didn't really tune too much into the Lucid report, so I don't know if they had the same feeling, but they dipped. So, I don't know if it was much better or just on earnings, but at least Rivian was putting out that their production was kind of in line with what they did last year, and they think production is going to be about the same as this year. So not a lot of growth, but not only that, the more troubling thing for the EV sector, based off the Rivian report, is that they didn't even deliver all those cars. So they got cars sitting on a lot that's not even being delivered at this point. So Rivian kind of threw out some more negativity. We did hear that very similar sentiment from the Tesla conference call. I don't know that anything EV is going to be absolutely bullish today. We will see. We did have after hours. We did have a little bit of a little run up. You had an initial dip, actually, if we are being honest here. We did have an initial dip when Lucid came out right around here. Even on Tesla. So Rivian comes out, Rivian dips. I think we're down like 17%, something like that. Well, right now we're down 17%, but we had a little bit of a dip on that, and then we did rally through with the Nvidia earnings, so we got a little bit of buying back. I would say there's some positivity and some negativity for Tesla from the Rivian report. And then also, I don't know if you guys saw Elon tweeted last night. He said, based on the numbers of Rivian, they got about 6 quarters until they're bankrupt. So again, that's Elon being Elon. Take it for what it's worth. Is he wrong? I don't know. I don't know. But so the one thing is the space in general, and that's been the question in EV is the demand actually going to continue? Is there actually going to be strong demand over the next couple quarters, next couple years for EVs? That's been the biggest issue that's been holding a lot of these EV companies down. Tesla kind of came out, kind of confirmed, like, yeah, it might be a rough year. Rivian comes out going, yeah, it's definitely gonna be a rough year. Probably zero growth. That's not good. That's not good for the industry as a whole. The positive side for Tesla is, well, let's say we do have 6 quarters. Let's say Elon's correct and Rivian goes bankrupt in 6 quarters. Let's say Lucid's gone in another year and a half, 2 years, and the Saudis stop funding Lucid. I think that's the only thing keeping up Lucid right now. Who's left to compete with Tesla at that point? You got NIO, I guess. They're not doing so well either. And now you have kind of, okay, we have a shrinking market, but we have one single player that's really just, and they're still dominating it right now. So the Rivian's got a lot to catch up on. NIO, Lucid, all those guys do too. So, okay, if all the competition's wiped out, now you get a little bit more pricing power on Tesla. Maybe you could increase those margins a little bit. Elon's got a little bit more room to work with, but we'll see what happens. But I think overall, EV's got a little bit of a dark cloud over it. It's not doing anything AI yet. Uh, kind of had a good run yesterday into the highs, which is right into this VPOC. I got it as 199.82. It came just shy of that. So that would be again my target. Probably my target would be first target 198.26 to the higher side, 199.96 to the lower side. You do have two levels of support. I got 193.66, and then we got 191.74. So kind of just in chop grounds, nothing too crazy. And I don't think today might be a breakout day on Tesla. We'd have to see what happens, but overall, nice pattern on the daily. Good inverted head and shoulders. We're starting to break out. It still looks like it might be leaning a little bit more bullish, but the question is today. It's today the day. I don't know. Randy says Hood. Get some of these lines off. There are several EVs on the market from various auto companies now. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But even like I think Ford came out and General Motors came out, they started cutting back some of the production on it. So might take some market share. They might take. I still think Tesla's a dominant player in the space. I don't think there's any. I don't think there's any argument on Tesla being the dominant. Could some of the bigger guys take market share? I think they absolutely can, especially if you disagree with Elon Musk, and he does talk a lot and tweet a lot and X a lot or whatever he does, and maybe you don't agree completely with his point of view on things, and that could eventually come back and people go, yeah, I do like EVs, but Ford has an EV, General Motors like there's other options, hybrids. Toyota's been crushing it in terms of hybrids. I mean, if you check out Toyota stock, they're going nuts. So there's other options, but I think Tesla's still a little bit to the dominant side. Hood not really doing anything. Pre-market just slight little gap up about 4 pennies, still inside day. Beautiful gap that we had. I believe this is on earnings. Inside candle, nice little breakout. This does look like potential retest. I think your best bet on this one would be to the bullish side still. I think we still got bullish momentum. That kind of came down, that retested. It's more of a risk to reward on this type of play. So first little spot I'd want to see this hold. Maybe this thing could come back to like this 1359 zone. That was yesterday's volume area. And then if you want to throw a stop like low of the day, essentially what you're hoping for is some kind of bigger S curve, and then you make another push higher. So longer term, I think this still is holding up for a bullish move. I like that. Is today going to break out? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Not sure. You are inside day, so you lose a lot of edge anytime there's not really a lot of emotions. You just got a lot of hopium going with yeah. Retested, and I still want to lean more bullish than bearish, especially in this market when being bullish is way more forgiving. Bros down 13%. Did they report yesterday? I didn't even see them. Nvidia took all the clout yesterday. All right. We got no, they're not down. Oh, 13% short float. Okay. I thought you said they were down 13%. Yeah, I was like, All right, so they did report. Looks like they beat by 2 pennies, surprise beat on earnings per share to the upside. They also had a $1.046 million beat on revenue. Tesla's dropping as we speak on my other screen. We'll see what that holds. Pretty good gap. Yeah, 13% is nice. We got a little bit of resistance, 29.33. So if you think that could break, then that's your play. You do have a lot of room on this one, up to like $30.92. Again, into that resistance, I'd probably wait. I got the 200 on the daily, somewhere around 28.88. Maybe we could find some kind of support into that. That also lines up with some of those VPOCs from back here. So if we could pull back a little bit, get myself better risk reward, maybe not be the first one to jump in. But if you really like bros a lot and you're thinking that 29 and change breaks, 29, I don't know, 31. If you think that could break, you have a really good trade on your hands up to this 30 range. But we'll throw this higher on the list. We'll see what happens. What do I got? 2 more minutes left. All right, let's see if I'm missing any of the other stocks. Bitcoin's down. AMD from another mother. Great minds think alike. Today puts losing monies. Yeah, I would say so. For the most part, unless it's on Rivian, Rivian or Lucid, then your puts are okay. You got Nvidia. Analyst says 1,200 value. Yeah, they put that out. I think last week, I believe. And then as soon as we get close to 12, it goes to 15. As soon as we get to 15, it goes to 2,000. It's good to use it for sentiment, I guess. There's analysts bullish on it. I would take all analysts upgrades and downgrades. They usually come in late. They usually come in after rallies, and they're usually in some way somehow incentivized by some of those upgrade calls. Pins looks interesting. Again, still, I'm seeing a lot of this resistance on a lot of things, and that's a little bit worrisome. But we got 36.67 as my resistance. The next one after that is 36.86. If we can start to break out of there, even coming into like 36, 37, we got a bunch of these little resistance, but at least that puts us into this gap. A lot of times getting to that gap first is the first part of the key to gap fills. Then you get rejected. Then usually like the second, third time into it, you can finally get that break. And longer term, probably about $4.88. But that is the morning bell. Everybody on YouTube land, I appreciate you joining us. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. We'll be back.